welcome to another episode of Design Under Influence, a show for architecture, design, and engineering professionals who are looking to level up and make technology their competitive advantage, because truly it is that it has that capacity. And Boris and I here, my co-host and CEO of a company called ArcIT, where we do IT for architecture, engineering, and design firms. Boris can help with that. And so today we're going to unpack a deep topic, but we're going to try to keep it nice and light and very, very informative. And Boris, you want to talk about the topic today and say hello to the viewers?
Hello, everyone. Happy whatever day it is you're listening to us on. Yeah, so the topic we're going to talk about today is Microsoft Teams and maybe even Slack a little bit, right? But the topic is, why should we use channel communication tools versus email? I think that would be the best way to put it.
So I would say this is, it is the first episode in the Microsoft Teams training series. So we wanted to sort of provide you with a few videos that you can use to train your own team, as well as educate yourself on what is the advantage and why some of the smartest and best architecture firms out there running on Microsoft Teams in terms of their internal collaboration. So let's start unpacking this, Boris. Why do people need Teams and what does it do? Just give us a high level.
Well, I think we need to look at something real quick. And one of the things that there's been many recent studies done on is, productivity, efficiency, things like that. And many studies have all found this one number, which I think is really important to know. And that's the fact that on average, a knowledge worker, right? The person who creates things, or a person who, how should I say it, Alex?
Intellectually, that's sort of intellectual worker. Okay. Correct. So not someone who does manual labor.
Right. Exactly. That type of employee or that type of worker spends 1/3 of their day looking for stuff, right? Whether they're looking for a procedure to do something, or they're looking for a file that somebody has created and put somewhere, or they're looking for other type of information that they need to do their daily job. They're spending, 2.5 to 3 hours out of their day just searching for that information and not actually doing the work that we're asking them to do.
On average.
On average. So that's very important. If we start there, then we can see the problem right away. So basically, each one of our employees is like only 66% efficient if we look at it that way.
Yeah. And so the reason that is the case is because information exists in silos. And the biggest information silo is email. Lots of stuff live there. And if you're one of those people who do not have currently communication platform, like internal collaboration platform, like Slack or Microsoft Teams, there's probably a few others. You find yourself digging through email for answers and multi-thread conversations and trying to decipher who said it and when they said it, and then look through attachments. We've all been there. So that's a challenging task that Microsoft Teams solves. So I'm just going to give you a quick taste of it. But there are other problems with not using collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams. And by the way, we're not getting paid by Microsoft Teams or anything like that. This is pure advice from us to you. So just wanted to preface this in case you think we're Bill Gates agents. We're not.
we are a Microsoft partner.
Sure.
But all of this will apply to Slack as well. So if if you're absolutely against Teams and you want to use Slack or look into Slack, this will be helpful as well for it.
Similar functionality. Yeah. And so another problem with email as a collaboration tool is what is called like formal versus informal. Can you talk a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah. And I think we've all been there before when we weren't business owners, when you were working for someone else. Like every time I got an email from my boss, I would sit there for 5 minutes and try to figure out, okay, what is he trying to say? How am I going to reply to this? And it basically, it was like writing an essay for school, right? It took me half an hour to compose this email message to make sure that everything is accurate. And it's like, I think email in general is very formal in the way we use it, right? It's like, again, just going back to regular mail, it's like writing letters, right? So we're writing an electronic letter, where a platform like Microsoft Teams or Slack is a lot more informal. So you can actually communicate using normal language, and a lot of times, adding emojis, adding GIFs, adding fun stuff, and the collaboration becomes a lot more informal to where it's much easier to get the right information quickly.
Yeah, so I think it's pronounced GIF.
GIF? Oh, yeah. No. We're not going to get into this argument.
Well, so it was actually created back in the 80s by the gentleman with the last name like Jiva something, and that's why it's called GIF, or that's what it's called, GIF, and which is GIF. But also, I'm gonna say one more thing, which is going to be like a big win for a lot of people. You can do memes. You can't really do memes in email. That's tasteless. Don't do it. Hashtags, forget it. I don't know if you can do hashtags in MS Teams. We haven't done any here, but memes, yeah, you can do memes. So that's like it levels up the communication, and especially with all of us sitting at home right now, and in the future, the remote work is going to be more prominent than it used to be. Given the corona and all the outcome, it's a way for teams to communicate informally, but as well as communicate on files and do other things. And so this is what I would say that in my experience, so I came into Arc IT, I'm a vice president of growth here. And, right away we started using Teams for all of it, for all of our communications, and everything lives in that one tool, which is extremely convenient. And I'll say that it replaces multitude of tools. Let me read some of those to you real fast. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I'll tell you, like file storage, video meetings, phone calls, team chat, individual chat, collaborating on whiteboards, notes, and there's probably like many other things that the tool does that we do every day with it that I don't necessarily I'm going to list all of it out. But
project plans, remember? Planner?
The planner, right. Tasks, that's a big one, right? Create tasks. And so another big advantage that you will find is when you recruit contract skilled labor to, like, let's say, work on a particular design, or you have, other folks coming in to pitch into a particular project you have, the documentation and the way you can sort of track what has been done, getting access to files, like all of that work by this contract labor person, even attorneys, right, can be documented in Teams and should be documented in Teams. Then you can access it. Like, you'll never find it if it's on the file server somewhere. In 2 years you need it, you'll forget it. So anyway, I think there's just a lot of pluses that we found, maybe a few minuses. I do complain on occasion. I complained today to Boris.
Is that to say that you're just a complainer?
Well, it's not perfect, just like me. Well,
nothing's perfect.
That's right. And so what's some of the drawbacks? So let's talk about some of the complaints and drawback that you hear from clients, some of the things that they waste their time on you having to fix. What's some of the things you can mention?
So I think it's not necessarily drawbacks, right? I think it's more of just understanding how to use the tools better. And I think I want to go back to one important point. I think we mentioned it, but we didn't kind of concentrate our attention on it. Now, we're advocating for the use of this platform as an internal collaboration team. So the collaboration between you and the rest of your team. You're
right.
Still going to be relying on email for collaborating with your clients and other outside partners that you may have. Not to say that Teams can do it, but in general, email is a wider accepted platform for that type of communication and collaboration. But for your internal team and the efficiencies inside your business, this is where Teams can really help. So going back to your question, Alex, is because we're so used to using email, and because these type of solutions are fairly quote unquote new, although, Teams has been in existence for 5 years, but I think it's been widely adopted like just in the last year with COVID coming in, right? Everybody's still trying to figure out a way how to best use it and how to best apply it to their business. And I think that's where most quote unquote issues come in. It's just trying to figure out the design aspects of it and applying it to your firm.
So it's more around shifting processes and systems to be able to map the work, the completion of work as well as the outcome of work into the platform and the tools, and utilizing the tools along the way that this platform offers. For example, big deal, right? A small thing, but a big deal. When you want to have a quick video call with someone, you have to sort of email them or chat them somehow through Gmail or whatever, and say, hey, I want to talk to you. Here's the Zoom link. Or when you're on Teams, you just press camera button. Right away, you connect it on video, which is huge. I found this very, very easy. I'm struggling with trying to chat about something. I'm struggling with a particular question. I'll just click camera, get you on the video, or get Nancy on the video, or someone else, and there we are chatting. In 2-3 minutes, we'll solve the problem and move on.
Well, take it a step further. You can just, without even clicking the call or video call button, you can just click the share the screen button and right away just start sharing your screen, right? Without even calling me, right? I mean, obviously it's going to set up a call between the two of us, but your screen is going to show up on my screen, and you can talk me through the issue and show it to me.
Those are all big things. I mean, they're small in itself, but when you think about the initial statistic you whipped out so happily, at the beginning of the podcast, that 2.5 hours go to waste looking for information, I do believe that, and I do believe that this could shrink that significantly. In fact, we're using this as a big one of the top 3 ways to use technology as a competitive advantage in our webinar, and teaching teams and collaboration and implementing teams on to help solve all those things.
Yes, we do.
Talk about rollout. So let's say someone wants it or got excited to listen to this podcast and it's like, well, let me look into it. Talk about rollout, implementation, learning curve. What do you see in cost? Let's break this stuff down. Usually those are big blocks.
Correct. So the implementation, does require some technical expertise. And that's why we're here to help. But in general, the implementation doesn't take much. I think that, again, going back to what I talked about previously, the initial phase needs to be the design phase, right? We need to figure out how we're actually going to set up the tool initially. And not to say that whatever we set up initially is actually going to be there in the future, but we need to set up some things initially so that, and then get our people to buy in and to start using the tool, and then together with our team with our employees figure out the tweaks and the changes in processes and things like that going forward, right? So we need to set it up, get the buy-in, and then make tweaks and fix whatever we think is broken in terms of process. I think those are the important things.
Gotcha. Have you actually done recently Teams rollout for a shop with 20 to 25, 30 people?
Yeah, we've actually done, most recently in the last 2 months, we've done 3 of those.
Okay. And so what were some of the learnings, some of the bigger things that maybe you can talk about that will save someone who's watching some time and effort?
So all 3 are...
I'm looking for shortcuts here.
I don't know. I'm going to try. To give some shortcuts. So I think the best practice is, so in terms of the initial setup, we like to start off by using teams kind of split out by departments, right? So let's have a team, for our marketing people. Let's have a team for our designers, right? Let's have a team for our project managers. Let's have a team for, our HR people. So kind of, taking a department and turning it into team, because that's the first kind of easy, I'd say, that's the low-hanging fruit, right? Because then you can basically digitize all of that communication on Microsoft Teams instead of using email. Second kind of tip I would say is you need to have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people that are real champions of the tool on your staff. So these are the people that will go and get training, and we can help them get training. We can train them somewhat and then give additional Microsoft resources that are available. And those people, not to say they need to be the police, but in a sense, they are the ones that really need to understand what the future is going to look like. And they're the ones that need to champion the movement. So if they see a conversation that's happening on email that would be better served to happen on Teams, they can just say, hey, I'm going to move this over to Teams and, forward the email into Teams and continue the discussion in there. I think that's important for adoption, because once other kind of late adopters, people that, really reluctant to change, see that, the adoption happens a lot faster.
This kind of becomes piece of the culture, and those champions are driving the culture, creating a less formal water cooler kind of culture, but also like superpower, including the superpower of all of the suite of tools that Teams carry or Slack. All right, cool. So those are some awesome tips, man. Let's finish out with the cost. You may not know exactly what it costs, but like a business owner with 30 company with 30 people, what should I expect around my bill to be around for just paying the product itself? Let's not talk about implementation services. Let's talk about the product.
The product is basically free if you're already using other Microsoft Office 365 products. So if you are using Microsoft Email and Office 365 suite, right? So your Word, your Excel, your PowerPoint, then most likely you have an Office 365 package that includes Teams. So,
wow.
Yeah. And if not, then a package like that basically has email, OneDrive, and Teams included, costs $5 a month. So it's not, it's really easy in terms of financial flexibility getting into this. But if you already have, like I said, Office 365 licensing from Microsoft, Teams already included. So if you're not using it, you can start looking at it.
That's great. So each individual, though, needs to have those licenses.
Of course, right? Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So overall, I would say that it's a really, really good idea. From personal experience, as well as seeing how our clients are initially going through the battle of implementing it, then getting champions to buy into it, and then the whole culture shifts and the organization becomes a lot more effective and efficient. And this is how you win with tech. This is how you win with technology. We can't be doing same things and expect different results. We just can't. This is life. This is the only constant we can rely on is change. And let's change in smart ways. Let's actually initiate change rather than make it happen to us. And that's going to be sort of my entrepreneur little speaking out to you. It's a really, really good idea to be proactive, especially these days. Companies that understand, like, you don't need to be, I've seen CEOs and founders who are not techie. Like, in the webinar, we talk about the Walmart founder, and, Sam Walton, he is completely not techie, but he understood the technology was the competitive advantage for discount retailers. And right from the founding days in the 70s, he hired the top tech minds to be able to put Walmart ahead of everyone else. And no one invested in technologies back then, especially discounters. So anyway, take that wisdom and use it to your advantage. And we really do want you to win. And if we can help you, we're ArcIT. Go to getarcit.com, throw us a line, and we'll be able to make this happen for you. And look forward to a second episode in this series with more detailed how-to and screen sharing on utilizing Teams for architects. Any parting words of wisdom, Boris?
Hey, man, you got it all covered. So I'm just going to say thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate you watching. See you next time.